I hope you are okay. And today the topic is about to unlearn what we learned before and what is related, right? It is about when you stay in a point that maybe you grow up, give you that level, and you start to feel that you could not move from that step, right? From that point, and you start to looking around what you can do and what will be the next step, but you can see it because you you arise to the limit of the knowledge that you already have. And when you start to looking for new options to continue your own grow up and continue your own develop, right, for yourself, for to be with yourself, for be conscious about yourself, your feelings, your emotions, um, what you want to do, how you want to live this life of experience, and you start to see that what you know in the past or learn in the past, it is not anymore helpful for you to continue that growing up. So you start entering some kind of challenge or battle when you start to how can I say, overwrite or try to rewrite the concepts that you already learned in the past, and take them, break them, all of them, and start getting more information, new information that give you a chance to move on. But what happened when we do that? Well, we went in a position that we start a process of close cycle in the life, because we were someone with the past knowledge and the past convictions and the past information, right? And since we need to take them out from our mind and start with new convictions and with new forms to think and move on to new forms to live that experience of life, it could be really challenging because we need to start that closing and start a new one. And in Spanish, it's how can I say, uh, uh, a form to say that when a door is closed, there is a open window near to you, right? So when a door is closed, there is an open window. So this form to say, or this reference is that not always when we close or we end something that we do in the past, that means that we are not move on from that point. There is another form to go out from that experience and continue our challenge, right? And continue our growing up in this life. So it is important that we start to detect that we arrive to that portion of life, that position. We start looking around us and identify what are those concepts that are not anymore good, or give give me some benefits in myself, right? In the self form that to practice, and I don't see the benefit to continue do it. So when we start to identify them, then we need to do the peace with them and foreclose those cycles that I already mentioned, and move on in the best form that we can do it. But sometimes it will be painful because sometimes we could think that we lost some portion of us when we do that change. Maybe when we do the change without think that how it will be um, received from the lower ones around to us, it could be more challenging when they rejected that change, or when they express that you are no longer the person that you was before. And also they say to you that they do not recognize you, right? But that is also an indicator that you are doing the things that are good for you, right? If you feel that you are feel correct with the decision that you take and the action that you do, is the best signal for you to continue doing it, even if the people around to you is telling you that you are so different, or you are not anymore the person that they know in the past, and they would like to continue speech or talking, or had that uh, interaction with you, right? And that disclosures from them, or that changes that we need to leave them. Sometimes it's difficult for us because sometimes we could feel alone, right? Or we feel that we lose so much for continue that path. But just that it is a moment when it is just the new knowledge and the new process that you are living, and it is totally normal to live that process too. Also, that gives us the resilience to continue, and the empowerment to continue with the challenge, because it is a good indicator that we move on in the part that we need to move. Always you refer that you are not injured yourself or others, or not move on a position that you can be an life risk for you and others. That is the only alert, a warning that the change, it will not be the correct one for you. But it is no signal of that. You can continue with the change, because remember that sometimes from things that we want to arrive to us, we need to leave some ones that we have in our hands, and that could be physically, or as just a reference, right? A reference as uh, that's a form that it is not in the physics, right? That is in the unconscious form, for say something. So that could be relative, that it is not in the reality, right? That it is not in the physical material here. So when we need to do that space, we need to do that portion of the space in order that arrive new things. Because imagine that we want to get more helpful for our development, but we don't want to change some tools or some lessons learned before that are no longer right for our develop, right? So how new knowledge can enter in our minds if we do not do that space too? So when the times arrive that we start to unlearn what we learned before, it could be that difficult. It could be always marked as the darkness in the night, and that process, that it will be the point of the more darkness, it will be around to us, and maybe we feel really, really alone in that process. But we need to remember that where is darkness, it is coming soon the light, right? So it is a signal that mm, near nearly is coming, arriving the light. So, or is coming the sunset. So we just need to wait and try to pass that darkness as the best that we can. Sometimes this process will require us to connect back with ourselves and try to see us without labels that we think that we are, and just connect with the human being that we are, and take out all the misconceptions and all the the perceptions that the exterior can have from us, and just look inside us and say, okay, I take out everything around me that is not from me, and what is live here. What is the result to take out all that things that are no longer enough for describe myself or match with my new person or my new prospectal process or my new project, right? My new journal in this life, right? And when we see it, we can embrace us and hug us and give us love in order to continue. That's the most important, that when you see it, you really be happy and and congratulations to yourself for all the steps that you live in order to arrive to this place at this point of your life. And maybe for the external could be not the best for you, but inside of yourself you think that is the best moment for you, so you're really happy for that, and you need to congratulations yourself for that process, because no one else do it for you, just you. So you need to recognize to yourself. And the other process is, okay, uh, start to unlearn what you learn, and start to identify from what you learn what is no longer necessary for continue, and take it out. And for that, maybe you need to have a new routine, adopt new habits, or maybe focus on a new practice, or start to move on, maybe take some kind of therapy, any kind of therapy that you want, but give you that chance to express the new process and start to adapt the new perception and start to adapt the new lessons. So with the practice, it will be more easily to do it. But the most important is do it. Also, I mean, to move on from the what you learned to the action. The first thing is identify that you have something to unlearn. The second one is to identify what you need to learn to replace that lesson, or that will take the space of that lesson that you is taking out from your mind on your actions. Then when you identify it and accept it, because you need to accept it, leave it, then start to think how you can apply it in your life. What are the next steps that you need to do? What are the next position that you need to take? What I mean with position, maybe you need to create a barrier between you and the external, because you are in the process to adapt the new habit or the new lesson in your life, and maybe the external start to give you the punch to say no, that is incorrect, no, you cannot do it, you are losing a lot when you do it, and we don't like it, right? We don't like the new form that you are taking on yourself. So you maybe to put that barrier or that limit in order to continue to live that lesson and adapt to your everyday. And then when you start to do it and adapt to your form of your life, just continue, because the progress and the development will be depend of how long you continue with the activity in your life. And maybe you get the process that could be the 21st days or the 41st days, whatever it takes, as long as you can adapt to your new form of life, that will be a better form to match it. And do not forget that maybe the new lesson you need to break in some steps, that could be a better form to adapt to your own life, because sometimes we think that we need to do the change of 180 or 360 degrees, and maybe it will be really painful to do that. And since it's too much for process and accept and adapt to your life, and remember that you are not alone, that maybe you uh, live with a partner or with your family or with your lovers ones or your co-workers, that will be also change or your environment. So imagine that you are doing a big change, and then this change, it is how can I say, move on as just one block to your reality. So the ones that are around to you is also trying to adapt to it, but you also to try to adapt inside it. So all the movement that you are experiencing, it will be so much that maybe you try to say, and most of the time your mind telling you, remember that you were better with your past actions, and you live a better position with your past life, and try to move on from that big challenge to the past, because our life does not like biggest changes, does not like those changes that are from the night to today, and that really strong for our life, right? So if you break it and move on some steps, just figure out what will be the most important to start, and start doing and learn. As soon as you feel that you can continue with that process and add a new one, you can do it. It is, for example, when you try to balance a ball in your hands. Maybe you start with just one with one and try to connect the movements of your hands and the ball. Yeah, and you start to cash in. When you feel that you already match that process, that you move the ball from one hand to other and do not take it out from your hand, then you can add a new one. The first will be the one go out from your hands, and you try to practice. And the first step will be to adapt to the current movement, and after to develop a new process when you can move on the two balls or in your hands, and maybe change the rim from them, right? So, but this is just with practice, so it is more important to be conscious on what point on the practice of the new concept or the new believing or the new lesson that you are having in your life, in what position you are, in what part of that transition you are, so you can be really conscious of when will be the best moment to enter the new bucket in that change. And also, maybe when you start to doing that change, maybe you do not finish, because maybe the life has another situation, another development in the way, and just need that 2 blocks, for say the example, 2 blocks to move and do that jump to the new development. So it is right, there is no a restriction to do that change in the middle, or that little change and the biggest one to move on to the new path that you have. But the only one that can get that decision is yourself, right? So just be focused on what you want to live, how you want to live it, and be also waiting for the signals that you get from the guidance that we have. Everyone have guidance, and they tell us the next steps or give us the clue as the language that we can identify. So for example, if you're a person that like to learn, or the best form that you learn is from your vision, you are more from vision that to listen, form to study or to learn the things, maybe you start see more signals, more visibility of what you are doing that are related with the steps. So be conscious that those are signals for you about your lesson. But what happened if your front of learn is about to listen? So the message will be arrived for that channel to yourself, right? So be conscious how you can detect, because it could be related with the topic that you already live in your life. They're also will related with the questions that you already made from yourself, and you don't have the answer back or the resources to answer it. So maybe it will be related to that, and also with a loving lesson, a loving message that will impulse yourself to growing. That will not be a message that we how can I say, that will put you in risk or could be hurt you. That will not a message for the guidance guys, right? And also you start to have confusion of what is the reality tell you. You can do a therapy with me or with other um, person that give you that guidance guide assistance. We have a meeting one-to-one through Zoom. If you want it, we can be in contact to message so we can see what is the reality telling you. But the most important is that you be aware that the message it is always there. Just need more suspicions and more interaction with your feelings, right? How much we refer with our first sessions about this could be good for me or this could be bad, but how how will be the weight that would put on that intuition, right? Be more contact with your intuition, because sometimes we think that that feeling that we have it is not correct, or it is just um, a joke of our mind that do not help me to live that experience. But maybe it is a warning to not live in, right? To not go for that uh, uh, that path. But at the end is our own decision. They will not stop you to live that. Remember that always that coin have always two ways, right? 2 points. So always will be two ways to live something, and always will be two forms to see the same situation. I remember when my sister, the youngest one, has the 15 years party, because in Mexico we have a party for remember or introduce the ladies at the 15 years old, right? Party. So we do not contact a photographer, a professional. Instead of that, my father gave us a camera, and for that time the electronic cameras are the boom and the new ones. No, not even the camera, it was not in the cellular, so imagine how old that will be. But in that time the digital camera was the boom, right? So my father gave us those cameras, one to my sister, one for me. I think one was for the youngest one, because we are three sisters, right? So we take pictures during the party, and after the the party and the next days we download all the pictures, and we see that even we stay in the same place and the same time, we had a different vision of what will be important to take a picture, and what will be a relevant moment and what will not be. So with this experiment, without trying to do experiment, but it was a easy form to take pictures of the party. We have a different look of each one, how each one live it. So was impact when we see the pictures, because something that we don't see because we are focusing in a specific moment on the party, the other one take it. So imagine if just one person was responsible for do that. It will take just the most relevant for that person, but maybe do not have the complete picture of the party because was just focused in one portion, right? um, when we do that process and see the pictures, we see different things that happen in that party that maybe we are not conscious. So we have a biggest picture of what is happening. So that's why our guidance guys try to give us the biggest picture, to tell us, okay, you have two roads that each one will end to the same point, but the form that you leave each road is different, and it depends on what you want to live. That is the magical, or that is the treasure, to have the conscious of what is happening around to you. So it is not related that you will not live that painful process, or will you not feel pain with the situation, but it could be a different form to arrive the pain, to arrive to leave that situation, because maybe you know that from the other side of the coin it will be a better form, or it coming a treasure, or it's coming a benefit, or it's coming something that will help you to move on the next step. So you start to see it as different form, the things that is happening in your life. When you know that it is coming darkness, and it will be really challenging for you to live that process, you know that is a transition process for a better place. So if you have this information before, how painful could be that process? Maybe the painful you accept it and embrace it like a lesson that you need to learn, and you done down all the emotions that are an impact in that process, and you have patience to live that. But what happens when you do not, that the road is coming painful, and even the warnings were there to tell you that be prepared, and just arrive. How difficult will be to see the light after that darkness, how difficult we can release that darkness ends, and the sunset and the light start to arrive to us. It is a pleasure and a grateful form that if we take conscious of what is happening around to us, we can see as different eyes, a different mind, and different concepts of what is arriving to us. So that's, to take conscious of what is happening to you is a invaluable treasure for your life. It is a better form to live this life experience. So I think if you are listening this is because you are in the correct channel to wake up that knowledge and understand that not always the things could be seen as good or bad. There are some scales of colors between those colors that you can get benefits from them, that can you select under what color you want to live that process, um, how to manage that pain that you maybe see that will be really challenge for you, and maybe you start to get in contact with those ones that could help you to pass that process, that give you that empowerment, and that vibrations, that good vibes, that you can continue your process, right? And sometimes we need to leave it alone, but remember, you're never alone when you are with yourself. when you have yourself at that column, at that shell that you can hang and no one can take you out from it, that will be the best. That will be the best because even around to you will be see really challenging the process, or the persons around to you telling you that it is really difficult, that they cannot believe that change that you are doing, and maybe they go out or take a step back from conversation with you because they are not feeling really good what are you doing, but you feel really okay what you're doing. You see the process and you can see the benefit to live this process, and also you see the good that could arrive if you leave it. Just continue, don't give up, just continue, because it is the transition process when it is more impact for us to live it more if you are not um, conscious that some steps we need to live alone to understand better the life that we have, to understand better what we already have, and to live out the things that we are not need anymore, right? But there will be some point in the future when you pass that process that you can look back and say, I could pass that, even I don't have enough um, enough empowerment or enough belief of myself that I can do it, but I do it. So that give you a better form to reflect to yourself. Another thing, it will be that you can say, oh, I realized that maybe I think it will be painful to live that process that I think was better for me in the past, or to unlesson what I learned before from my father, my mother, or at school, that are no longer uh, matching with my things, with my process of life, and it is time to say goodbye for that lesson. That doesn't mean that you are not going to contact back your parents or your friends. It doesn't matter that. It is referred than your conversation or your approach to them will be in a different form. Maybe in a form that can you learn more from them, or they can learn from you. Remember that all the time we are passing from teacher to student, from master to teacher for master, all the time. Our life is just it. For some of us, we are the like to continue the steps right back of them, and for others, we are the ones that we start to see the light in front of us, and we try to move on in that path too, right? So just be aware where the lessons arrive to you, where the signals and the messages that arrive around to you, and be conscious of yourself, your emotions, how you feel, how it is impact you that change, and how easily or how difficult you adapt to it. The best form that you want to live it will be the best for you. Even that was painful in the first steps, maybe are the ones that will give you the signal that you are in the correct path, and the others will be the confirmation that you take the best decision for you in that moment. And just remember, you are doing the best as you know. You are in the process, so just believe in yourself, right? And also, if you have some partner that speaks Spanish, I release a new book This is my first book. It's related about a guide of the steps that you want to know before to move from your parent house to live alone or with a roomie in a new space. What are the things that you need to take in consideration about the movement for each room in the department or the house where you live, about what will be convenience for you to move on and what will not too convenience to move with you. Maybe some clothes that you are not using longer a year that could not even use in the new place. So maybe you can dispose them to another process, another person, another recycle process, or donate them, right? But the book is in Spanish. It is called both Independence, and it is shared as ebook in Amazon. So I will post the link there. So if you have someone that you think that will help them to uh, be more conscious before give that step out of the house and speak Spanish, you can recommend to them too. So also if you have questions about what is the reality telling you, or you want to do a deep revision about what happened when you are in the process of develop in your mom's bail, also we do that process, regression process too. And you can contact me with a message and we be in contact as I mentioned before. I do the sessions to Zoom one by one, so we can address some meeting and we can see deep what is the message there that maybe you cannot uh, connect yet, but help with other eyes you can get that information that give you that take conscious of what is happening. And what when you take conscious of what is happening, maybe you can take the decision what it will be the next step for you, right? Okay, also for this week we have the message from the angels, so be prepared. Be prepared with your question. um, we can see what they want to tell you, and I will try to up more videos in English because in the last weeks I was just focusing on Spanish, but I will try to do it again. Okay, we have these two cards. uh, the first one is protection to all levels, and it is related that they tell you that everything is going to be okay. You have the protection or the guidance in the time that you do those changes, so go ahead from them. Also, your loved ones are in their hands, so you have some question about some illness process, or some situation that is on one of your lovers happening, so they tell you that also they are on to them. um, Also they tell you that you can share security or believe in yourself, that give you confidence to others, right? So when you share your own confidence, that will also help to others to do that step, right? So it is important that when you have confidence with the actions that you do, also is shared to others as, how can I say, empowerment, a push from them to move on and start to do it too, right? Because in that process you share you as a teacher, right, to them. And also they say yes, and they embrace you to take the proposal that you have in this moment, and also everything will be shared in your favor, and it is aligning with your path of life. And Also, they invite you to develop an environment of um, that could be enter the abundance and the good life, or the live as good as you want, right? So you need to that space. So maybe this an other environment, another invitation, sorry, about to do those changes that we need to clean, right? Because we are with a lot of things that maybe are no longer need in our space, and maybe we need to do that space in order to arrive new things, right? And also they also telling you that you can move for that path in order to live your um, your dreams without fear, right? But those dreams that maybe we believe that we need to live something, but when we try to live it, we think that we need to do a big change in our life. But that could be our perception, because we are not in that environment yet, or we are not really related what it is taking as really impact for us. Maybe we think that change it needs a lot of movements, that maybe we don't want to do it, right? Or we cannot allow us to do it because we think that we can impact others. But in the back, just is to do the first step, and when you finish that step, see the other one. You cannot run to the end of the career if you don't do the first step, right? You don't arrive to the end of the rail if you don't do the first step. So the most important is that you start to live that process. um, when you take the decision, all the things that you need to live that path will be arrived around to you. So don't be afraid about how you complete that process or leave that new path that could be a really good or big challenge. The most important is that you take the decision, and believe me, all the needs, all the tools that you need to live it will be arrived. And it could be like miracles, because you don't expect that, but it will be arrived around to you. Okay, well, we stay in contact in another video. If you like this content, please help me with a like and subscribe. And also, I appears like Miriam Catalina 157 in TikTok and Instagram, and like Miriam Catalina just in Facebook and YouTube. Bye bye.